Thanks for tuning in to Proline TV for this week 16 in the NFL. That's right. We're going to talk nothing but NFL on the show this Friday. Mark Lawrence has the week off. He was with us yesterday on the Playbook ATS podcast. He is knee deep in the bowl guide, actually part 2 of 2 parts for the college football bowl guide for 2025/2026. So make sure to check that out. Links in the description of how you can get the playbooksports.com and order the bowl guide, which if you're a bowl fan, if you like to wager on the bowls, is a can't miss option. So check that out. How's it going, Jim?
Pretty good today, actually. Had a good night. Had a good day yesterday. Well, I did not win the game last night, but it was a classic to watch. Oh my God. That was when it was 30-14. I thought, I'm going to turn this thing off. And then all of a sudden, I guess the whole Seattle team drank Red Bull and they came out with a lot of energy and everything changed. Everything changed.
Well, what were the points that you had?
Huh?
What's the spread you had?
I had the under.
Oh, the total. Okay.
Yeah, I was dead wrong with that.
All right. Yeah, that was actually a little bit surprising. I agree because after the way the first game went and without Devonta Adams and even the way that the game started, it looked like it was going to be one of those games. And then all of a sudden, the Rams came up with some big plays. Darnold threw some big interceptions. And then, like you said, it could have even ended there at 44. But what was the total?
It was in that neighborhood, yeah.
And then the big punt return changed everything. So
yeah,
Seattle,
Shaheed, right? That was Shaheed. He's got a lot of speed.
So not only do they get the punt return touchdown, they get 3 2-point conversions successful, and then the 2-point conversion of the ages. It's one of those games where I can see like somebody who bets for a living, and he's in a slump, and he bets the Rams, and let's just say for whatever reason he's got no points on the game, which is possible. Could have bet it early in the week, and he's got the 30-14 lead, and he's going, "Oh that's it. I'm snapping out of my losing streak. It's over." And then everything that happened at the end of that game is something that does happen to someone that's on a losing streak, where you get the punt return touchdown, the 2-point conversions, that 2-point conversion turner. It's like all of those things when you've been in that type of a rut where you go, you've got to be kidding me. I can't believe this is going on. Is there anything else could be going wrong with my picks?
Those things happen in life. Yes, you can get in a streak like that. I've had them in 6 decades. I've had a few. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the kind of game. Or on the flip side, of course, when everything's going great, you got Seattle. And you're like, just keep rolling, man. Everything's working. So anyway, I will say this, though, after the game, even though Seattle, look, I do wonder, we talked yesterday on the Playbook show about how maybe it is better for the Bills to be a wild card team. They haven't been successful as a division champ getting the bye. And we have seen plenty of teams over the years win the Super Bowl from the wild card route, from having to win 3 to get to the Super Bowl route. The Rams, even though I know they can do it, there's 2 things here. One's good, one's bad if you're on the Rams side. The bad is it's an extra game. It's Matthew Stafford. You want to limit all of his time. You'd rather have him rest. That's the bad thing. The good thing is that the odds are not going to get away from you even further. So if you want to bet on them to win the Super Bowl, you're going to get better odds.
You just roll the bet. Put your $50 on the Rams in the first game, and then whatever you win, you put it on the next game and the next game and the next game. Forget the odds that they're showing you. Just keep rolling the bet. And you're just going to have your $50. That's all your risk is. And you're going to get better price than if you just take the odds that are out there.
Yeah, a lot of those first round games, we do tend to get higher point spreads like in college, but I guess it all depends on the matchup. And we still have a couple weeks to go. I mean, Seattle has to go to Carolina next week. And Carolina, we know, is a very up and down team, and they beat the Rams at home. So that means they're more capable of beating Seattle at home if everything goes their way. So we can't just say Seattle's got the division and it's over. If San Francisco's actually in a good position now as well, but they have to take care of business on Monday night against the Colts.
San Francisco's in a great position. If they win out, they're in damn good position.
Let's take a look at the standings here. So here are here it is. Here's how it shapes up. If the Niners get the win, they will be tied with the Rams, and I'm not sure what the tiebreaker situation is. It's actually San Francisco's got the edge because they have a better conference record,
right,
and a better division record.
And so let's take a look at the 3 games they have.
San Francisco, their final 3 games.
Indianapolis, obvious.
Yeah, after the Colts, they will be playing the Bears at home. You really have to make me do this for one more game?
Yes.
And, I mean, this thing, really.
Yes.
Unbelievable, these people. Oh, and then they get Seattle at home.
That's 2 tough games because both of those teams could beat them. Yes.
And they haven't had tough games all year. So they finally get some tough games to wrap up their season with. And even the Colt game on Monday night is not going to be easy because they'll be playing a team that is playing for their season and that almost beat Seattle. But we have no idea what to expect once again from Phillip Rivers. Just no idea. If the Colts are going to have any chance to win this game, their defense is going to have to play just as good as they played last week. Maybe
even better. You're not going to have a quarterback that gets in his head, and that's what's wrong with Darnold. He gets in his head. He's got the talent, obviously. But thank you, Roger. I appreciate that. Yes, I'm back feeling a little bit better. Appreciate that. Darnold is. I see what's wrong with him. He's a very intense guy, and he gets in his own head. The talent is all there. He can do everything he needs to do. But as I've seen so many people in my life that get in their head and they question everything about themselves and they doubt themselves, and that's a mental thing. You got to work on that. It's he is a very talented young man, though.
Let me see what the futures look like now in the division for San Francisco. Okay, well, the Rams are plus 250. So that's not too bad. Niners are 360. So that makes sense. Again, with the schedules, with Seattle having to play at Carolina and then at San Francisco, those are 2 tough teams. Really, the team with the best schedule is the Rams. The Rams will be playing, I think it's Atlanta and Arizona the next 2 weeks. So
they should, if they stay healthy, they should handle those 2.
Yeah. And that means that, again, look, the Rams are going to need some help with San Francisco. Let's see where Seattle is as far as the conference record here. Let's see. The division record's the same, and there is an edge for Seattle. But if they lose to Carolina, that would be 7-4. So yeah, I don't know what the next tiebreaker is. And of course, there's also going to be the tiebreaker potential with 3 teams. So we still have a little bit to go here. But fact of the matter is, if Seattle wins out, they will.
I mean, win. Is there any way if these teams, let's say, go 2-1 down, all of them, 2-1 down the so two teams that have 5 losses, the other one will have 4. Is there any way that anybody of this group would miss the playoffs?
Well, Seattle and the Rams are already in the playoffs now. They clinched. Okay. So it's up to San Francisco. And I believe if they win, they clinch. So let's see what their situation is, just to be sure. So move on down here.
I can't believe the Niners are going to lose to Indianapolis this week. I just don't see it happening.
Well, nobody in the world thought the Colts would even come close to beating Seattle, though. And they probably should have beat them.
I think it's an aberration, though. I mean, you're going to have a week of tape, and San Francisco has, a great defensive coordinator. They're going to put a package together, put a lot of pressure on Rivers. No, this is he's not mobile. He doesn't have a big arm. They're going to put a lot of pressure on him. He's going to have to get rid of the ball fast. Their running game is going to have to be incredible, and their defense is going to have to play just like they did last week. Except that Seattle doesn't run the ball as well as San Francisco does. There's no McCarthy on the Seattle team like there is on Niners. That's a tough deal. I think it's going to be a rough trip.
Yeah, the thing though with San Francisco and it'll help them for sure if they can win this one on Monday night is the fact that they still do not have a good record against winning teams, and of course Phillip Rivers definitely throws a monkey in the wrench as far as the Colts being a winning team, but they are. Colts are a winning team. That'll help San Francisco.
They would not be a winning team if Rivers was the quarterback all year.
Probably not.
I got to look at the reality of what we have right now.
That's right. And again, I tell you what, if San Francisco loses that game with Phillip Rivers, I think that pretty much says all we need to know about the Niners.
Then they should go home.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think they will, but then again, they got a tough schedule the rest of the way, and the teams that will be hoping that they get knocked off, well, the team is Detroit, because it doesn't look like Carolina might have to win out, but it's basically Detroit. If San Francisco loses, then Detroit can potentially get within a game of the Niners. So
okay, let's talk about Detroit and Green Bay. What's their situation? Just looking at those two teams.
Let's take a look at the standings there. Let's pop that back out. All right, so here's the situation. So with the tie in there, you've got the Packers just a half game behind the Bears. Of course, they play on Saturday night, and the Packers already beat the Bears. So if they can win that game, again, with the tie, though, that head-to-head is not going to mean as much. But it still be, of course, important for them to take the lead over the Bears if they can do that. The Lions in a must situation home against Pittsburgh, they'd get 9 wins. And that's why if you look at it here, they would only be a game behind the Bears. If
the Lions division record is terrible.
Yeah. Yep. But it also shows you right there that since they only have 4 games, their final 2 games are against division opponents. They'll both be on the road. So this is their home finale on Sunday night. And the 2 road games will be at Minnesota on I think that's on Christmas. And then at Chicago. I tell you what, there's some really big games in the final week of the season with Seattle and San Francisco and the Lions and the Bears. Just those 2 matchups right there could be huge.
Yeah, so, John Putnam just said San Francisco can win the West just if they win out. The problem is, John, we're just looking at the schedule. They have this may not be a tough game against Indianapolis with Rivers at the quarterback. It's still on the road. It's still tough. But the next 2 games are really tough.
Yeah, the Niners aren't winning out. That's not happening. That'd be you know what? You might as well give Shanahan maybe coach of the year if he could do that.
You never know.
No, you don't. It's sports. Anything's possible. But I'm willing to say it right here. That's my job. Say it like it is. They're not going to win.
Listen, nobody really ever listens to anybody that supports the Jets.
I guess you might be right about that.
and you even wear a Jet shirt.
I am. Look, I don't hide it.
That's beyond belief.
I don't hide it. Why would I hide it? I know there are a lot of announcers on national TV. That's what they do for a living. They critique, they hide it, they critique. And then when the team wins, then they're so proud. And then it's like, fuck you and your friggin' phony bullshit. If you're not going to be, if you're not going to at least give them some credit or stand up for them when you're supposed to stand up for them, then just go away. Mike Greenberg is like at the top of the list. That's the big phony. That's a big Jet fan phony right there from ESPN. All he does is criticize and criticize. And then when the team wins, oh, I'm a Jet fan. It's like, no, it doesn't work that way, asshole.
Well, Mark Lawrence is from Cleveland. You don't ever see him wearing a Cleveland shirt, ever.
Well, Mark is also a professional handicapper. So, yeah.
Roger, I agree with you. I see the Ravens going home just like the Chiefs. I agree.
Yeah, I think so.
And John says you think like Joe Namath.
That's pretty good company.
That's true.
Let's see. So getting back to this Lions Packers deal and the Bears, because they keep swapping 2nd and 7th seeds. So if the Packers do beat well, what do you think? I mean, again, you got the Packers playing this game without their prized edge rusher. So Parsons is out for the year. They're also not sure if their Christian Watson's going to play. There is hope. There is a possibility he could be available. Looks like Josh Jacobs probably going to play, just like he played last week, where he doesn't play, get all the reps, but he'll be there. And even just half of Josh Jacobs, like we saw against Denver, is just good. That's just fine. But no Zach Tom. It doesn't look like Zach Tom is favorable to play. He's their best lineman. So there's some big injuries coming up for the Packers, and they're going to have to sweep Chicago after the Bears pummeled the Browns following the loss against the Packers the prior week. What do you think about this one?
You don't get any credit for beating the Jets or the Browns or Raiders. I mean, just forget about that. It's like playing, high school team. But I like the Bears in this game. I think they will get revenge. It's going to be a nasty day, and not that nasty days matter to Green Bay. They're used to that. But this is a big game. I love the way Ben Johnson's managed this team and brought Caleb Williams along, and the whole team for that matter. And you can say the turnovers they're forcing is, luck. It's not always luck. It's good coaching. It's knowing how to get the ball out. It's not all luck. I mean, you don't go through the whole season and say, okay, they got 30 positive turnovers, and it's luck. It's not always luck. It's work. It's the way you're trained. Partially, there may be some luck in there, but there's. I like the Bears to win this game.
Yeah, this is also very important for the Bears to get over the hump as far as their division woes, because if you look back at it over their last 29 division games, they are 6-23, and that includes 1-3 this year, and they're having, of course, a great year. So this is just they have to start winning division games, and so this is a really big game because if you get swept by the Packers. That's not a good sign.
Well, that would be lights out for them, I think. Really.
Well, again, they'll still be in position, as you can see, because they're ahead. They'll be a 7 seed then probably, and then they have to hold off like the Lions, and they'll be a game ahead of the Lions. But again, they host the Lions the last game of the season, so that could be. For everything. Again, I don't know the tiebreaker situation just yet, but the Lions, as you already mentioned, look, both teams, the Bears would be 1-4 in the division if they lose to the Packers. And the Lions with Minnesota next week, let's just say they win that game, of course, that puts them ahead of the Bears as far as the tiebreaker. And who won that game earlier this year? Chicago or the Bears? Who won that game? You remember?
Chicago.
That was the Detroit won that game. Wow.
Chicago is the Bears. Who are you talking about?
Wow, they blew them out that game a long time ago.
Chicago and the Packers.
The Lions.
Oh, the Lions.
No, the Lions. Yeah, the Lions. You remember week 2 when the Lions beat the Bears 52-21?
Ouch.
That was the week after they lost to the Packers to open the season. So
that's what the Lions do. They win the game after they lose.
They have done that.
Yeah.
And so bottom line is, if the Packers beat the Bears, then the Lions win out. They will be the playoff team, not the Bears.
Who do the Packers play the next 2 weeks?
Packers will be hosting Baltimore next week. And then the final game will be at Minnesota.
Who already beat? No, okay. They've beaten. Well, they haven't lost. They haven't lost any division games.
No. So they're looking to go 5-0. So again, and this is entirely possible, if the Bears lose to the Packers on Saturday night, then the Lions control their own destiny. That's as simple as it is. So the Lions just have to root. They're rooting for the Packers. And if that happens, then that game on Sunday night against the Steelers becomes that much bigger for the Lions. So what do you think? At this point in time, if you had a bet, would you, even though the Bears have a 2-game lead on the Lions, would you bet that the Bears would make the playoffs or the Lions after what I just said?
I think the Bears make it.
Okay. So that means you think the Bears will either beat the Packers on Saturday night or the Lions week 18.
Well, I think we can knock the Packers out of this situation. They could actually lose out.
I'm just saying, if that's what I'm saying. If you think, you're going to go with the Bears and the Lions.
If the Packers lose out and the Bears and the Lions win each game,
they can't win out because they're playing each other.
True.
So do you feel better about the Bears and the Lions than you do the Packers? Because again, if the Packers lose out their next 3 games, it's still very entirely possible that the Bears and the Lions make it and the Packers don't. But I don't know if the Packers will lose their last 3 games. I don't think that'll happen.
Well, they're pretty hurt and banged up, and they really got banged up in that last game. I don't know if they can overcome that. That's a problem. What's really making me hesitate is the fact that they're 4-0 in the division, and it could come down to that.
Yeah, they're dominant right now in the division. It's hard to see them fall apart like that. They are 7-16 against the spread in their last 23 as a road favorite. Well, 1-5 this year.
They're no longer a favorite.
Oh, okay. It's now switched?
Yes. Everywhere.
What is it? 1 the other way?
1.5 or 2.
Okay.
The Bears are 1.5 and 2. They're no longer.
So the Packers, who have won 6 straight at Chicago, they beat Chicago 2 weeks ago. I just told you what the Bears' divisional record is, and yet the Bears are the favorite.
Well, most of the lines are made on current form, not on history.
Oh, I know.
That's one of the fallacies. I mean, this is a team that we're talking about 2025. We're talking about December 2025. We're not talking about, 2021 or anything like that. We're talking.
But you don't think that matters in division play? One team has got another team's number.
Not as much. Not as much. If the coaches have changed and the quarterbacks changed, especially those 2 issues, then I think you have to throw it out. The fact that Ben Johnson is there, Caleb Williams is there. It's a big difference. This is not the Bears team of the last decade. This is a definitely different team with a different motivation, with a different psychology, with a difference in confidence. That's why you have to be careful. You have to plug in now versus the history. If the now matches the history, then it means more. But if the now, I'm going to always give more weight to the now over the history. But if they match, that's really strong. This doesn't match the history.
Well, the thing that I'd have a problem with, though, is that, I totally agree. I usually wait early on in another season to see, okay, are they going to be different? Is this version different than what I'm seeing from just recent past? And the Bears have shown no signs of being different. They're 1-3 in the division again. They just lost to the Packers again. So they have yet to buck that trend of getting over the hump in the division.
Who's the number 1 right now? It's them. How many years ago were they number 1 going into a game like this? And were the Packers as hurt as they are correct right now? This is all different. Oh. I have to argue that point vehemently. I got to argue the point that you look at the current situation over the history
And that is why
unless it matches.
That's why there are two separate type of successful handicappers. Jim Feist is one, Mark Lawrence is the other. So,
well, but even Mark will tell you just can't ignore.
Mark goes a lot with the trends. Mark's a trend guy. Mark goes 90% of the time with the trends.
Well, so I've talked to Mark a lot, and he will plug in current form as well.
Of course. That's what I'm saying. You have to do that. But the Bears have shown no signs at all this year of bucking that form. They're 1-3 in the division, and they lost to the Packers again.
What's their overall record?
They are 10-4.
And when was the last time they were 10-4 after 14 games?
And they're 1-3 in the division.
Okay, well, they're growing and they're learning.
They're playing a division game.
It's Ben. Okay, that doesn't matter. Ben Johnson is there. He's taking this kid and
didn't mean anything 2 weeks ago.
Okay, well, we have a difference of opinion.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There are two different philosophies of how you can be successful in the industry. And
I believe that trends matter, but not if they go completely against current form.
All right, let me ask you this question then. Let's say the Packers beat the Bears on Saturday night, and the Bears' final regular season game is against Detroit. That puts them at 1-4 in the division. They've already lost to Detroit again. So it's basically just a carbon copy of what we're talking about with the Packer game on Saturday night. Are you still going to feel that way?
If they can't win this game at home?
Yes.
No, I'm not going to.
So you're going to give them another chance. They're at home.
Right now, they're the healthier team. They're the leading rushing team in the league.
Sure.
Next to Buffalo. They've got a competent, doesn't turn over the ball quarterback. They're healthier than Green Bay. They got home field advantage. They've got Ben Johnson was not there last year. Ben Johnson was not there 10 years ago or 20 years ago or 5 years ago. He's there now. He's a different kind of coach, and he is getting the most out of this team.
And he's 1-3 in the division.
Okay, in the beginning of the year.
No, he's 1-3 in the division.
Greg, you got to throw out what happened back in September and October.
Well, I'm not going to throw out what happened 2 weeks ago, though.
Well,
and they played this team 2 weeks ago, and that really was
2 weeks ago. How many of these players for Detroit were out?
I'm not making I don't think we're having a debate on this game.
Yes, we are.
No, what I'm having a debate more of is just taking a look at the Bears. The thing that bothers me the most is just that they're the favorite. That's what bothers me the most.
Well,
if they were the dog, considering all of this I've said to you, I'm fine with that. But you're making them the favorite.
Okay, let me put. Okay, Greg has an opinion. The marketplace opened. Odds makers opened Green Bay 3.
Wow.
The marketplace
was that last Sunday night?
That's what the number was.
Okay.
345.5. Now the marketplace, which is the money coming out of people's pockets, and usually during the week it's really bigger players because the average Joe doesn't bet that much early in the week.
When do they bet the big players? Do they usually bet away?
They bet from the moment the line comes out until game time, and even after when the live betting.
So there's no particular time during that week that the heavy bettors bet. It's just scattered across the entire week.
Hold on 1 second. I'm doing a pod. I'll call you back. Okay. Bye. Okay, I'm sorry.
So it's not like 50% of them put it all on Sunday night right away, and then it's scattered the rest of the week. You're saying it's scattered the rest of the week all over. There's no.
Well, first of all, when the game come out 3, I bet Chicago right away for 15,000.
And you think a lot of other people did that as well?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Do you think
I talked to some of the biggest players in the world.
Well, that's what I'm trying to, because when I talk and you guys aren't around, I need to know this. So that's what I'm trying to get this answer from you. So the heavy hitters, the experienced ones, the ones that really put a lot and change the line, do most of them, a high percentage of them, wager on these games right away on Sunday night?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure of. Okay.
But let me add to that.
Sure.
They also bet the same people will bet on these games late as
the
well.
line, okay.
Because
As far as late,
it's like playing the stock market. A stock comes out at $10 and they invest in it. Now it goes up to $30. Well, they're maybe take some profit back on the other side with a stop loss. It's the same thing. We're not betting teams, we're betting numbers. So right now, I could take 15,000 and bet Green Bay plus 2, and I already have Chicago plus 2 for the same. So I have, if the game's really close at the end, they win by 1 or 2. I'm going to win on both sides of it. We're betting value here. It's about the numbers. Now, when I look at the game and say, okay, what do I think the number should be on this game? I think Chicago should be favored. Why? Because A, it's revenge. B, it's home. C, they're the healthier of the two teams. C, I think A, B, C, D, they have more upside right now because I see Ben Johnson making a big difference to this team, and the value of this team is going up, and the value of Green Bay is starting to slide down. So I'm looking at that way. So the discussion is, I look at it totally different. In September, October, I would agree with you, but that was then. This is
I don't. That's the Detroit game. Yeah, that was one game. I didn't really care about that game. I just care about, like I just said, I care about the fact, and now that the Bears are the favorite, I'm just going to side with the Packers. Look, okay. I agree with you with the injury situation.
Let's say nobody was the favorite. Let's say it was a pick'em. Who do you like?
Okay. Pick'em, I'm still taking the Packers. The only way I'm against the Bears is if, like, really against the Bears, totally don't like them, is when they're favorite. I'm just totally, I can't do it. And the reason I can't do it is because I've had a lot of experience, just myself personally, over the years, where if I've gone that way, and I lose, I realize, well, how can I have done that? That team owns them. They have this terrible history, and I just went with the team with the bad history. I'm an idiot. So I've decided at some point, might have been 10 years ago or 20 years ago, I'm not doing that anymore.
Okay, so we just went through a season of people betting on Kansas City Chiefs every week. Every week, even the pros were betting on the Chiefs every week.
And they were, and Mark Lawrence warned everybody that they were going to be wrong.
And so did I.
Yes.
And so did I.
But Super Bowl loser.
But they kept doing it. And the reason was, Andy Reid, Magnola, Mahomes, Kelsey, the history coming off a bye after a loss, sure. And what they did do is they filled the bookmakers' bankroll.
Yeah.
And so things change. And the key to this business is finding the change before it happens. That's the key. Because once it happens and the lines makers start to make adjustments, maybe the Bears in 2 weeks would be 4 in this game. See, now I think right now the Bears are bargain at 1.5 and 2, because I never made Green Bay 3 with their health conditions, the revenge issue on the road. This is a totally different club than it was in September and October, or last year, or 5 years ago, or 4 years ago. Totally different.
I think it's going to be really important for Jordan Love, who, by the way, over this until last week, at that run they were going through, it looked like his best form that we've seen since the playoff 2023. But not a coincidence, his best form happened to be at the right time when Christian Watson had returned to the lineup and was now healthy again, because he'd been playing for about 3 weeks. And he needed a week or 2 to get going. But as soon as Christian Watson started to play again at the Christian Watson self, all of a sudden Jordan Love started looking like the old Jordan Love. Now Christian Watson may or may not play in this game. And that would worry me the most. If Christian Watson does not play, that would worry me the most. But if he plays, then I really am going to be on the side of the Packers. So anyway, that's keep an eye on that, as well as all the other injuries, because the Bears are going to be without.
We just spent 30 minutes talking about this one game.
That's okay, because we spent half of that time talking about something that was important that really didn't have anything to do with this game specifically. The Bears, Odunze and Burden are out for the Bears, so they are going to have a couple of guys out. But as you said, the thing that's been really working for the Bears has been that running game, and that's the other thing of reason why I still like the Packers say is because, and we saw it a couple weeks ago. I think this is a bad matchup for the Bears. The Bears got to run the football. That's their strength, running the football. And the Packers have one of the best running defensive teams in football. And I don't think the Parsons injury should be a big deal there. That's more of a pass rush thing. So we'll see. This is coming up on at least a standalone game on a Saturday night. So that helps us across the country. Okay. Who do you like in the Tampa Bay Carolina game? And are you surprised? Let me go back to this because I got to pop this back on the screen because I'm actually this must have changed a little bit. I don't remember this line changing this dramatically. That the division line for the Tampa Bay Carolina winning the division is now minus 425 for Tampa Bay. Carolina plus 330. Is this for real?
Well, here's what can happen here. If Tampa loses this game but wins the next two games, they still win the division.
Yep, as long as Carolina loses to Seattle.
And, well, the power rating between Carolina and Seattle is pretty dramatic. That's why. So that's an opening. That's why that number's like that. But you're looking at Tampa Bay. What's the money line on Tampa Bay in this game?
Oh, it's can't be that much. What were they, 3?
They're 3.
So what do you think it should be?
Well, this is why we need to look at this. There it is.
148.
Okay, so if you like Tampa Bay to win the division, you might as well just bet them in this game and lay the 148, which is what I would do if I like them in this game.
And what do you think about this game? Because I'm definitely, I could not bet the Bucs in this game. That doesn't mean I would take Carolina, but I just can't take the Bucs in this game.
I am totally doubting what Tampa Bay has been doing. I mean, the losses they've had, the coach being so upset with them. You even played the clips, and Baker playing. I mean, just they have not looked anything like what I expected, especially with players coming back and they're getting healthier. And the other thing is Carolina at home has been tough. Carolina as an underdog has been tough. I think Tampa Bay is the better team, but they just haven't performed. So when I look at the stats, forget the names. You just look at the performance over the last 3 or 4 weeks. I don't see why Tampa should even be 3 in this game.
No,
I'd make it pick them, but because of my bias to Tampa Bay, because I made summertime bets all over Tampa Bay and Baker. Baker's been a little hurt. He's not 100%, and Roger Long just pointed that out. Yeah, we're kind of aware of that. I'm going to pass. I just don't like it. I don't like the game.
Yeah, it's a crazy game. There's so many other opportunities to wager on this week. This game, I think it'd be crazy to pick a side. Bucks are 1-5 straight up, 0-6 against the spread since the bye. There is a trend out there that works for Carolina. They're 10-1 against the spread as dogs, which they are now, of 2 or more in the first of back-to-back home games, and they're 1-0 already this year. And that's the important thing too. You talk about the history. That's the one thing I always look at when I look at some of the trends from Mark's magazine. Is it's important for me to see if that's holding up this season.
Well, that's what I was talking about. The current form and the history is exactly the same, which is why you really need to pay attention to Carolina in this game.
So, and Tampa Bay has won 5 straight against Carolina. So, but we know, just by what you said, that Tampa Bay can still win the division by losing. This is a much bigger game for Carolina. Doesn't mean anything other than just it's a much bigger game. So, all right.
I'm going to pass because I just don't feel confident.
Now, I am not passing on this game. I said this last week. I was shocked that the Chargers were getting, I think it was 4.5 at the time. And then I was even more shocked on game day when they were a 6-point dog at home at Kansas City. And I completely benefited from that. Took the money line and I was happy. And I'm going right back to the Chargers again. I don't understand this line again. I mean, what's up with the Chargers getting no respect? They're a 1.5-point dog to the Cowboys, who are starting to reel. The Cowboys have also started to get banged up as far as injuries are concerned. Their secondary is a complete mess. So they got all sorts of crap out there. The Chargers have won and covered all 3 games this year as a dog. They're also 3-0 straight up and against the spread since the bye, coming off back-to-back wins over the Super Bowl teams, the Eagles and the Chiefs. And one last one, the Chargers are 11-0-1 against the spread in their last 12 as an NFC dog of more than 2, but it's only 1.5. And I actually, I got to think it's possible that this line might even change on game day to the Chargers' favorite, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, it has come down a little bit because it opened 2.5, and there's 1.5s out there and 2s out there, so it's possible. I would lean to the Chargers. The only thing is, Chargers are coming off that big win over Kansas City, but the Chargers do have a lot to play for because they're in this divisional chase and wild card chase where Dallas, in some cases, a team like Dallas is a dangerous team because they have nothing to lose, and so they can go balls to the wall. I like the game over. I don't see a lot of nothing to hold anything back here. I would lean to the dog, but I'd like to get 3, which I don't see, and I don't see any juice to say it's going to be 3. So right now, I'm just going to off of that and just play the over.
Yeah, we brought this up a couple of weeks ago that the Chargers are really playing a rough schedule, and they've already got past the first 2. Now their last 2, hosting Houston and then at Denver. So, and again, keeping this in mind, that if the
Chargers are hosting Houston and at Denver,
yes,
two of the toughest defenses in the league,
and that's again, and then who they just played, and then now they're in Dallas. That was their last 5-game schedule.
That's a tough stretch.
Yeah.
Tough stretch.
That's why they've been playing good football against good teams and coming out on top. They have to win all these games, like you said. And look, if they win this game and Denver loses to Jacksonville,
so very well might.
Chargers control their destiny to win the AFC West.
No, really?
Yep. Because they beat the Broncos in their first matchup. And they play the Broncos in that final game. And that would even the record up.
And where's that game?
At Denver.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, I'm just all these numbers, say definitely take the Chargers. I also look at the Cowboys as one of those teams that I stay away from teams most of the time that just sort of like what happened with Cincinnati last week and what kind of happened with Dallas last week. The loss to Detroit by Dallas, the loss to Cincinnati at Buffalo, you could tell even last week that both of those teams kind of hurt them. And now they're definitely out. And so I'd say, I'd rather take a team like the Saints or whatever that have known they've been out for like a month or two than a team that just knows that they've just been out, sort of like, we're out. And I kind of think that those teams might be a little vulnerable. So.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. Here's the Chargers issue. When you look at these last 4 games, Kansas City, Dallas, and then you have Houston and Denver. This becomes a sandwich game. I mean, my goodness. I mean, you're talking about monster tough teams.
Well, Houston's, but that's what I'm saying. There's every game is a tough game. I would say this, that if there was a game where now that the way there was scheduled, now that the way the standings are, where if there was a game where if the Chargers lost, that they'd still be okay, it's this one. That's true.
Well,
but then with those games coming up,
that would make me not want to play it.
I totally agree. But with that schedule coming up, and the fact that they're on a roll right now, I don't know. I don't think
the other thing is it's a back-to-back road game too.
So keep an eye on some other injuries. Javonte Williams, as you saw, he was banged up last week for the Cowboys. So keep an eye on his injury. Quinnen Williams has dealing with a concussion. Guyton, their starting tackle, we saw what happened. He's questionable. So Cowboys have a lot of injuries. We know the Chargers injuries, but we've known that for quite a long time.
Yeah, everybody's hurt.
Moving on, Buffalo and Cleveland. Cleveland, no Denzel Ward, and they've got a banged-up offensive line. We'll see how the Bills respond after that miraculous win. And it's supposed to be, 30 with 20-mile-an-hour winds at Cleveland?
Yeah, it's a typical Cleveland by the lake effect wind and everything. But Buffalo's used to that because they get the same thing. They get this lake effect at Buffalo. So they're used to that kind of environment. But the problem is, I don't know Cleveland has a quarterback that knows how to play football yet. Shador might have long-term talent, but he sure didn't have it last week.
Yeah, the Bills showed once again, though. This is the reason why I still can't get behind the Bills winning a Super Bowl, is I'm not sure a team has ever won the Super Bowl with a pathetically, as pathetic as that run defense is for the Bills right now. It just doesn't happen. So I don't know where it's turning around. I mean, they are hoping to get Ed Oliver back in the postseason. That would be big if they can do that. They did Milano back, and we saw him make plays last week. But even with Matt Milano playing, that Bills rushing defense continues to be a big deal. So you would expect the Browns are going to hand the ball off to Judkins like 30 times in this game and hope that they get something going there. Let's see. McCarthy and the Giants, nobody cares about that. Bengals, Dolphins, nobody really look at that 4.5 with the quarterback change. And we kind of touched up on this last week, Jim, is when we were going over the Joe Burrow stuff. How is Joe Burrow going to react in the game against the Ravens? And 2 weeks prior, he had a great game. He was throwing the ball over the place. They destroyed the Ravens. And then the week after he comes out with that statement, the team was completely flat. So
Joe Burrow is starting to remind me of Andrew Luck. Totally fed up, banged around, playing hard. Team doesn't support him with the kind of protection up front, the defense. And Andrew Luck just walked away from the game. Similar personality here with this guy. I mean, he's super talented, probably the number 2 quarterback in the league next to Josh Allen. I'm not sure this kid doesn't want to retire. I'm not sure. If not, I'm not sure he still wants to stay in Cincinnati.
I think the thing with Burrow is that the reason why I think he'll play is just because he just loves the game too much. He just does. He was really fed up. He said what he said. You're running through emotions. You kind of realize that everything was going great. You just returned. You got a big win. You had a lead at Buffalo. If you win that game, there's hope, playoff hope, and then it all goes away. And he was a part of that, and he was just frustrated. And I think he got the worst out of him. I don't think he's retiring. I don't think that's even going to come into it. He loves Cincinnati too much. He was from Ohio. He's not going anywhere. The Bengals aren't trading him. So I think he'll be okay. I just think he just needed to get that off his chest. I don't know if maybe he needed the week off last week, and maybe he'll come out, firing again this week. Maybe that's the way to go. But
Miami is starting a new quarterback.
Yep, a rookie too.
Yes, so that's why the line is where it's at. I just don't know who's showing up.
Yep.
I mean,
It's like a bowl game. You don't know.
We're a preseason game.
It's like, look, the Saints are a 6.5-point favorite against the Jets because they're starting their rookie quarterback. And the Saints, though, I think they're down to their fourth string running back. Their top 3 running backs are all out. So we'll see what happens here. I think that line's a little ridiculous myself.
Interesting line. 2.5 up to 6.5.
Yeah. I don't know what's up with that. There's no news about players not playing.
It's the Jets. They don't have any respect for the Jets are coming with. That's what it is.
Well, again, it's Cook, the rookie.
Well, I don't think he looked all that bad personally, but it's got to be the intensity. The Saints are playing a little bit better. It's definitely saying, okay, Saints are going to win by 1 score.
Yeah, the Jets fired their defensive coordinator, so that could come into play. But usually, you would think that would be a good thing.
25 years of frustration will now go to 26 years of frustration.
No, it's 15.
Okay.
Yeah, don't get carried away with 25 now, please.
Okay. I forgot you're wearing a Jets shirt.
15 is enough.
Yeah, you're right. Unless you're the Browns.
And by the way, if the Saints win, they wind up, that'll be a 3-game winning streak. And I'm not sure the fans are really happy about that because they get further and further away from that top pick of the draft or from even the top 5. So
they might actually have their starting quarterback. This kid doesn't look that bad.
Yeah, they might give him another year because, again, the 27 draft is when Arch Manning comes out, as well as a few others. So that's teams like the Jets and the Saints are going to have to make that decision about whether or not they'll just wait until 2027. It'll be interesting to see how the Chiefs react. This is something we haven't seen from the Chiefs in years.
Decade.
No Patrick Mahomes. They're out of the playoffs. Tennessee, this is, they're trying to win, they're a young team. So yeah, I don't know what you're going to get in this game.
I could only play Tennessee. I don't see Kansas City. I don't see Kansas City just giving up. I mean, the players they're playing for contracts and stuff like that, but the full intensity is going to be on the Tennessee side, but I'm not playing it. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
I'm not playing it, but
sure.
I mean, this is an 11-point game and now it's 3. I mean, so no, I'm not doing that.
Big game, Denver and Jacksonville.
That's a game. That's a good
Denver
game.
proved that them being a dog last week to Green Bay was silly as a home dog. Bo Nix had maybe the best game of his career. And just how scary can Denver be now if Bo Nix starts to play anything like that on a weekly basis with the defense that they have and the coach that they have. Jacksonville's red hot. They've won 5 straight up and against the spread by a 171-72 margin. So they're killing teams, but the Broncos are on a long winning streak. What is this, 11 straight or something like that?
11.
And they're a 3.5 point home favorite.
Too much. Too many points. I like Jacksonville in this game. I think
just the points, or would you go with the money line too?
No, when dogs, I always take the points. It's only on favorites I lay the money line.
Okay.
I like Jacksonville plus the points. Maybe I could find some extra juice and take 4, but I like Jacksonville in this spot. It's just Denver's coming off a very tough game where they really had to put a lot into it. Jacksonville had to put a lot into it against the Jets, but the Jets are not that tough.
They didn't have to put anything into that one. So
well, yeah, that's true. And Lawrence is playing better than he's ever played in 6 years in the league. It's Liam Cohen's doing a good job. It's kind of like Johnson with Chicago. Liam Cohen's doing a good job.
Yeah, it's sort of like what if the Jags had given up on Trevor Lawrence a year early and he goes off to another team where Liam Cohen is and he becomes sort of like what we've seen with like Sam Darnold. You got to give these kids time. They're young. They need, I know they want, and not everybody's a 2-year fit. 2 years in the league and you're playing great. Some quarterbacks need 5-6 years, and teams are too impatient.
Well, so, the CBA kind of dictates that they have to push these kids too fast because they don't have to pay them, and they get these guys to start, and they say, okay, now you're out there, it's your team, go with it, and they're not ready. And I think you need to sit a kid for 2 years to learn how to play. And the way it's structured is bad for the kids because I think it ruins the player because they're not ready, and they lose. When they start losing, they lose confidence, and they can never get it back. In this case, Lawrence is looking good. I mean, Darnold looks good, but the problem with Darnold is not his physical abilities. It's the fact that he gets in his own head. He doubts himself. I see that in him. And somehow they have to work that out of him because he's very, very good. He just doesn't believe he's very, very good. And you can just see it when you talk to him or hear him in an interview. You can tell he's been banged around so much and hurt in the media. He's starting to believe what the media says about him. He can't win the big game. You know, it's going to take time to work that out of him. If he has the time to work, he needs a little help on that side, mental.
Yeah, because if Shaheen doesn't return that punt for a touchdown to get that comeback going, they're not going to win that game.
No,
and he's going to have to deal with tossing 2 interceptions again in another big game.
Correct.
But they didn't. But you know, they made it through. He came up with some big plays at the end in those last 2 drives, and we'll see if that turns things around for him. Atlanta, Arizona. Atlanta's a road favorite here. Keep in mind a lot of injuries for Arizona, and for Atlanta, this is important because Atlanta fans know this. They're about to endure their 7th straight losing season. Their young quarterback's been out, and they traded away their first-round draft pick last year to get an edge rusher, which is nice, and it's a good player, and he's you know, but that means they have no first-round draft picks this season. And do you know who has their draft pick?
No.
It's right now. It could be like the 10th pick in the draft, and it's the Los Angeles Rams.
I like one thing in this game. I like the over. I think both teams are going to put up a lot of points. Nothing to play for.
Yep.
It's just go out there and have fun, throw the ball around, and have a good time.
That sounds right. And then you got the big Sunday night game. This is it's a pretty big number, being 7. Steelers are playing their best football of the year, and they're in a good position here because if they win this game, that puts them at 2 up. Potentially 2 up on the Ravens if the Ravens lose. And they play Baltimore the last game of the season in Pittsburgh. Of course, they've already beaten them. But anyway, Detroit still banged up. A lot of players out. Offensive line banged up. Their safeties, their star safeties are both out. One of their corners is out. Laporte is still out. But as you said, Jim, they with Dan Campbell. Okay, this is Dan Campbell's number. 14-1 against the spread all time following a straight up loss.
I don't like to lay points like this, but that stat right there and the fact that the Steelers, I can't give them a ton of credit for beating the Dolphins because the Dolphins are a mess and they're really not that good. The Lions have more at home coming off the loss. Pittsburgh just has one thing to do. They got to beat the Ravens in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And this is the Lions can't, if they blow this one, they're dead. Now, when you need a game doesn't mean you're going to win a game. But there's a lot going for the Lions here on this at home, which this kind of everything. And I do think Rodgers is playing well enough to put up 21. I think that you can see the Lions put up somewhere between 30 and 35. I like it over. So that's what I'm going to bet with this game. I'm betting it over.
Yeah, Baltimore's schedule, if they lose, let's just say both teams this week lose. Baltimore loses to New England and Pittsburgh loses to Detroit. Next week, Pittsburgh can clinch if they beat Cleveland and if Baltimore loses at Green Bay. So,
wow.
That just shows you right there that Pittsburgh sort of has like they got that extra loss in their bag. They can lose this game and everything is still okay. So just got to keep that in mind. Detroit can't. This is a team that's definitely going to be playing their asses off because, as we said, if Chicago loses, Detroit, everything is in their basket. They win out, they're in the playoffs.
Okay.
So that's Saturday night first. Then you have this game, which should be another blowout. Houston just keeps blowing everybody out now. And here's another big one. Baltimore and the Patriots. Sunday Night Football. The thing that bothers me about New England, there's a couple things. 5 starters on defense may not play in this game.
Whoa.
Their top linebacker, Spillane, who did not play last week, and we saw the residuals there. Neither has Milton Williams, their prize free agent acquisition from the Eagles. He hasn't played in a while. And then they got 2 corners banged up. Their edge rusher and linebackers banged up. So they got a lot of banged up players who may not play. Spillane's definitely not playing. And the other thing that kind of bothers me is what's his name? The head coach.
Vrabel.
Why are you getting into the refs? Don't get into that. It's a bad look when you start blaming the refs. It's not a good look. And so I didn't really, I'm more concerned with the 5 injuries than what Vrabel said. But I just don't like it when a head coach starts to blame things on bad officiating. So especially when your defense gets pummeled the way it did in the second half of that game. But I still kind of like the Patriots in this one because the Baltimore Ravens also have some key injuries too. And I still think the Patriots are a better team, but we'll see. What do you think?
Well, the Patriots are getting 3 points. We both agree they're the better team.
Yeah.
I have to like the Patriots based on that. The injuries, but everybody's hurt.
Mm-hmm.
All teams have injuries. That's a lot of injuries on defense, which is not good. But I like the Patriots. I'll take the 3 points and maybe a half a bet. I don't like the way Baltimore's played all year, and I do think New England is more capable of bouncing back.
And then the final game is that San Francisco Colt game we talked about. It's now down to 5.5. And a couple of injury news that could be really big for the Colts, and that is their best defensive player, Buckner, the defensive tackle, DeForest Buckner. Chance he could return from injured reserve. He's been out a couple of months. He's been practicing. He could not play last week, but there is a good chance that he could return on Monday night. And they're also hoping to get Sauce Gardner back too. He's been out the last couple of weeks. So keep an eye on those injuries for the Colts, especially the Buckner one, because that would really energize the defense. Because again, as we said before, they can't win this game without the defense.
Well, I still believe there's one automatic play in this game, and that's the under. I don't see these teams putting up a lot of points. Both defenses are going to play hard. The game means a lot to both. You can't look at Indianapolis to push the ball down the field much with Rivers. He doesn't have the arm for it right now. And both defenses are going to play hard, just like they do every week. I don't see that get into a shootout. I see something in the 30s, but not 46.5. I think that's just too high. I like the under.
Okay. We want to also remind everybody that since we're getting closer to 2026, that means we are going to start getting involved with college basketball. Big weekend, the last big weekend of non-conference basketball this week. There are about 5 or 6 really big games this weekend in college basketball on Saturday. So you might want to check that out because once that's over, it's off the conference play up until March Madness. So there's some big games to watch. Jim and I will start talking college hoops in January. We did a weekly show last year. I think we did it on Mondays, I believe. So we might do that again at some point in January. We just have to figure out when, and keep that in mind. So college basketball coming soon here to Proline TV again, after we had such a successful season last season with our Houston Cougars pick winning the national championship. Florida Gators pick winning the national championship over Houston.
And you picked Florida to win. They did win. I had Houston. I lost.
Oh, you had what in the game?
The final game.
Okay. Well, I thought you also jumped on Florida at one point as far as the futures were concerned.
I had Houston. You had Florida.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll see what happens again as far as and again, look, it's a college basketball. The one thing I will remind, and we're going to remind everybody of this, definitely come March Madness. Don't forget last year in the tournament, it's like there were no Cinderellas. So all the favorites won. It was the first year of the NIL taking an effect in college hoops. So we'll definitely be reminding everybody of that and see if that becomes a pattern. But we'll have more than enough time to talk about that because we still have 2 weeks left in the NFL season. The college football playoffs begin tonight with Oklahoma and Alabama. I did a video a couple of days ago on the college football playoffs. You want to check that out. You can also check out the Playbook ATS podcast. Andy, Mark, and I talked about the playoffs and the bowl games on yesterday's show. And Jim will be back on Wednesday to talk once again. No, Tuesday, right? Tuesday.
I got to do my show at the restaurant on Tuesdays. So the next 2 Tuesdays, that's the schedule for the Jim Feist handicapping show. And then it looks like right now we'll move up the Playbook ATS podcast to Wednesdays, as long as it's good for everybody. And then so just keep that in mind. Everything kind of moves up a day over the next couple of weeks, with Christmas on a Thursday and New Year's Day on a Thursday. And Jim, as always, good to see you're back here healthy this week. Let's keep that going. Okay, we'll try. We'll keep.
Yes,
that's the goal.
Yes, we know that. We know you will try. And
thank you, Roger Long, for thank you. I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you next week, Roger, and everybody else. That John Putnam, all the people that made comments this week. We appreciate that, and we'll talk to you soon.